Tariffs not the problem. Misinformation is. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, May the 25th. And this is Memorial Day weekend. And to all of the members of the military, your families, those who have lost, we thank you for your service. And obviously feel for you who have lost family members or whatever. So again, happy Memorial Day. And obviously it's not so happy, but we do memorialize the people that we have lost and thank them for our service and their families who are a part of it. So have a great Memorial Day weekend. In the meantime, obviously we saw this week some dramatic action in the tariff world. And it's not tariffs that create the problem. It is the misinformation that we get from our central banking system, that we get from our government, that we get from the people that are supposed to be looking out for us and allow some of these things to take place. Now, we've seen a lot of things go on, but I think one of the biggest problems here, and if you go back to many years ago, but we started out with 90 days, same as cash, 30 days, same as cash. And of course, then the automakers went into the supposedly 0% financing, which was total bullshit. But now we have for groceries, buy now, pay later, as more consumers are struggling to buy food with the high cost of food, the high prices. But of course, that always comes, buy now, pay later always comes at a cost. Okay. But many are too blind to see that they're paying an extra 20 or 30% for the food that they are buying now and giving them the availability to overstock their refrigerator. It doesn't teach anybody anything. It makes the banks, it makes the credit companies, the companies like Klarna and PayPal and all those guys that charge usury rate interest to help to sucker these people and they can't afford it to begin with. As I understand that people have to be able to eat, but certainly they don't need to overstock. And if you looked at some of the stuff that they're buying, and again, you look at what people buy with food stamps, they're not allowed or supposed to buy tobacco or alcohol, but you can bet your ass they are. Okay. And this is the bigger problem that we get that when we allow these things to happen, the usury rates on credit cards and things like that, all they do is torture those who can't afford them. And I think that is something that needs to be looked at. And that is what the Federal Reserve and the central banking system around the globe should be concerned about. Not worried about giving the Fed independence, but just because you just saw the Supreme Court rule that the Fed needs more independence, is the Federal Reserve not a private corporation? That is the bill of goods that we were sold, is that the Federal Reserve is a private corporation. That was the whole planning back in 1913, that the Federal Reserve was supposed to be private. Well, we know they're not private. It's all bullshit. Okay. But when you're watching the central banking system around the globe, okay, not just the Federal Reserve, but all of them destroying their own currency. You saw the dollar get pounded this week. But the interesting thing is they never come back to where they were. And what really happens is it ends up costing the consumer. It's a way of them covering up and taking money out and devaluing, which is one of the bigger causes of inflation anyways. Okay. So again, I think it's a problem. I don't think tariffs are the problem, although Trump commands Apple to make iPhones in the US or pay 25% tariff. Yes. And I agree. Listen, you know that these consumers, these companies could get prices lower. And yes, it was made in America. If it made America stronger and if it made America better, wouldn't you be willing to pay a little bit more for your goods and services? Are you not tired of buying that shit from China or Vietnam or anywhere else you're buying it from that continues to break? You know, the built-in obsolescence is fine. Again, we don't want products to last forever because obviously we need commerce, we need the business world to churn. But the shit you buy from China that breaks in 3 seconds, again, I'm all for tariffs. I'm against what's going on, and I want to see the lack the less misinformation that our government feeds us. Okay, most of it coming from the left right now. But either way, okay, listen, the government just didn't become a shithole mess yesterday. Okay. It didn't just happen during the Biden administration, although it was pretty bad. But this has been going on. And I think it's about time that voters in America stood up and said, hey, this is the right way to go. And this is how we really get our country back. But I think we're in the third inning. This is from Mario Rubino, the third inning of a global death spiral. See, Mario Rubino sees gold topping 10,000. That is such a moronic fucking statement that makes me want to puke. Okay, look, at the end of the day, will gold hit 10,000 someday? Yes. But why are you trying to create fear? Because you have a position that you're trying to dictate to your membership or your clients? Okay, these things are not said because they're really fact. These things are said to create action. And we'll talk about Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan in our commentary. Power hungry race. Now this is interesting. We if you remember when crypto was first coming out, and everybody complained about the power that it took to create and mine for Bitcoin. Okay. Now you have AI, which is burning about 10 times what it costs to mine Bitcoin. And it is growing every day. Obviously, the AI learning, the faster it grows, the more power it sucks down, the more it weakens our power grid. And now you have the problem with smelters and aluminum, okay, that are now fighting for power against AI. We don't have the power grid that can support all that. And all that's really doing is weakening. And we need to get our own affairs in order here as well. And again, we need to fix the infrastructure of this country. Okay. That's something that has been promised by every presidential candidate in my lifetime. And so far, zero have done that. And of course, we are taking down more power. Now, again, as I said last week, you want the solution, go to nuclear power. That would solve all of our problems, okay? From the climate, if you're a climate change believer, to the lack of power, to the cost, to everything, okay? And we are seeing, it is Memorial Day weekend, and normally gas prices are spiking, but they are the lowest since 2020. And of course, that is directly due to President Trump being in the office. And of course, it's being helped along by OPEC, the criminals at OPEC that are pumping in more supply because they're trying to convince or force American frackers and shale producers not to produce. So we'll see how that happens. CI says winning the tech war with China top priority. Well, don't you think? Do you think would it be nice if we kept giving all of our secrets and giving our stuff to China? Wouldn't it be nice to take back control of the world and the universe? Okay. Again, I don't know why we have so much problem. And I don't know why people have so much problem with Donald Trump wanting to take back control. Okay. Yes, I said that. I've always said there's going to be a little bit of pain first, but if we can get through the pain, and again, are the those that are suffering now, the recession that we're in, which I do believe we are in, okay, are we going to suffer anymore? Okay. Let's get this country straightened away. I mean, this is not something for just today. We need to take care of everything in the future, which means changing Social Security age, which means a lot of changes that need to be done. But of course, it's hard because of elections, and our politicians are too busy grafting themselves and taking so much money out and raising so much money just running for elections instead of fixing the country. Okay. Judge rules Trump acted lawfully on Chinese tariffs. You're goddamn right. Okay, tariff away. Okay, tariff away on EU. And if you saw on Friday, there was a little bit of a bomb dropped on the EU. So again, what I say to you is that we need to get rid of the illegals. Okay, we need to take care of the infrastructure. We need to rebuild this country so that we can regain and take back control. That is my opinion. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, May the 25th. And of course, happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Let us step out here for a break, and we're going to give you a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our market update. What's up, kids? I hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend. And of course, make sure you thank a soldier and thank a family and help them memorialize their family that was lost in wars and in doing their service to this country. In the meantime, we do have sponsors who sponsor the show, and of course, they are mostly brokerage partners. And again, I have other brokers, just to give you full disclosure, and I'm just saying check them out. I'm not telling you to go with them or not go with them. I'm telling you to check them out. And of course, that's TRADIER Brokerage, $10 a month. I mean, it saves me 100 grand a year. Capital Trading Group, ITM Trading, which is for all your gold and silver needs. Uh, Spooky Express, if you're looking for a little gambling on the side, a little offshore gambling, and our high school program, and of course our brand new sponsor and partner that I've invested in is Joy of Mom. It is a great platform for moms and those that need some information with whatever they have doing, but check them out. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line and our market update. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, May the 25th, and happy Memorial Day. And again, I salute those families who've lost, and I send you my thoughts and prayers. In the meantime, last week was a little bit wild for the markets. We didn't do much. It was kind of I think the S&P was down about 150 points or so, which is really not very much when you think about it. At the end of the day, basically down almost every day after Monday. I think that, again, I think we're going a lot lower. I think we're going to test the lows. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to make any predictions, nor would I act on anything here. I will tell you what our positions are and where we see things. But I think there's a lot of trouble out there. And again, this goes back to who's going to be the investor, where's the participation. But as we look at the four major indices, again, they're really in consolidation, looking to try to break to the downside. On the S&P and the NASDAQ and the Dow, we're all back at that 200-day moving average. What does that mean? Well, again, there's an old saying that the bears live above the 200-day and the bulls live below. The Dow is actually broken below. The S&P is on, and the NASDAQ is slightly above. So we are flat all the major indices. We're long until Tuesday, and now we are flat. The dollar got smushed last week again, but this is more of a con game. This is a shell game. The fiat currency system is the most manipulated piece of shit that there is when there's no backing, and hopefully Secretary Bessent will get that changed because I know they're trying to do that. The euro currency, pretty flattish as well, but tried to rally a little bit last week. We're still short. Bonds and notes, we saw the 30-year get over 5%. We saw the 10-year get to 4.6.5. Again, both rallied a little bit on Friday, but I think that we're going to see interest rates continue to go higher. And we are still short the bonds and notes, and the bounce came from exactly where you might expect it, down on support levels. Bitcoin pushed out to a new all-time high again before falling on Friday. But we have no position. We are flat Bitcoin, but again, we were long going in, looked pretty good. I would expect a pullback, but we'll see where it goes from there. Gold, interesting week. A lot of wild swings, but did finish the week on a big kick higher. But we should be reaching, I would say, probably 3,400. We're still short gold. I said we're flat gold, but I would expect to see a potential run to 3,400 before it fails. And I think it's going to go back and now test probably 3,000. Silver, we're still flat, really just chopping around. Platinum, we don't trade platinum, but if we did, we would be a seller up in here. Again, it's very illiquid, so you have to be very careful. Copper, we're long, had a big move, pushing higher once again. The grain markets, they're still struggling, a little bit stronger, but we're long corn, which was up for the week. Wheat and beans are pretty much kind of flattish, but the whole complex is kind of flattish. This is one of the problems in markets, is the lack of participation and the lack of liquidity. Remember, low volume, high volatility equals a lack of liquidity. The cattle markets, cattle pushes higher once again. Listen, again, they're shortening, they're taking a shortage, and now we're going into the demand season. I would be looking for a place to sell. I have no position. Hogs, I'm looking for a place to sell. Natural gas, we're flat. And again, I would be a buyer of natural gas somewhere down around the 280 level if it gets down there. Crude, we're long. Tried to make a big push. I think 64 is about the top. I think it's about 60 to 64. And certainly I'd be a seller at 64, and we are long at the moment. In the meantime, again, it's going to be a short holiday week. Obviously, markets are closed tomorrow. They will be open through Globex, but we'll see what it goes on. But in the meantime, I would be looking for some more ugliness. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. We're going to step out here for our final break and come back with our commentary right here on Bubba's Bottom Line, Memorial Day weekend. What's up, kids? Just a quick rundown of our sponsors. Not going to go through the whole spiel. TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, SpookyExpress.com, ITM Trading, High School Program, and of course, Joy of Mom, which I'm really proud of in our brand new adventure that we've invested in. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and our commentary. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz. It is Sunday, May the 25th, and it's Memorial Day weekend. And once again, I salute all the families and thank you for your service. And enjoy your weekend and celebrate your loved ones. In the meantime, there's an article out now. And of course, first, one thing you have to understand, the big banks don't make comments unless they're trying to push something somewhere. Okay. And we're now having the big talk, which we've talked about here before, of deflation or stagflation. Okay. Which is horrible. We saw that in the Jimmy Carter era. And of course, that is the lack of production, the lack of jobs, and the lack of growth, which again, we're going to hopefully get around that. But when people say that, they're trying to force somebody else to make a decision. What really needs to be done, in my opinion, is we need to stop their predatory lending. Okay. We need to stop these banks from taking advantage through usury rates on credit card balances and these other services. We cannot afford to have the very powerful people expressing opinions that are really counter to what is actually going on. We can't really allow, when Chair Powell speaks and when others speak from that venue, they have to clear their speech first, and they have to put it out there. I want to know why some of these bigger places that have very dramatic effects on market don't have to clear what they say first. They're allowed just to say it. Of course, that has to do with a licensing issue, Series 7 and things like that. But at the end of the day, okay, I do believe there's a chance that we'll have some stagflation, but I don't like it when it's being put into a context to create potential fear, create a problem in the markets, and to create problem for the others. I think that we've done a lot of damage in this country to the middle class and below because of these very things. And I think it's about time that we step up and take care of everybody and take care of it, okay, without allowing those who can put information out into the system that only benefits them. That is really what I have to say about the situation. I think it's a tragedy that we allow people in places of power to say things just to benefit their own companies, okay? Because they know they have enough power to push that. And that's just something to think about. And this is Bubba's Bottom Line, Todd Bubba Horwitz. In the meantime, have a great weekend, everybody. Happy Memorial Day. I salute all of you. Thank you so much. And we'll see you back here on Tuesday with Bubba's Daily Update. And of course, next Sunday with Bubba's Bottom Line. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later.